Hey guys, Chris here with the Crabapple Cottage. Today I'm doing an Aldi Prepper Pantry haul. So I ran to Aldi's real quick to see what they had, and I wanted to look specifically for shelf-stable items that I could fill some holes in my prepper pantry. So let's see, let's start over here. I did pick up a package of toilet paper and paper towels as well as disinfecting wipes. These are things that we all know when they're out, and you really don't want to go without them. So I try to pick up a package of each, not every time I go shopping, but most times, just to kind of replace that stuff that I have used already. I did pick up some more rice, 2 bags, I think they're 5 pounds each of, 3 pounds, sorry, 3 pounds each of the white rice, and then a bag of the jasmine rice. We really like that jasmine rice when we have a curry or something like that. It's a little more expensive, so we don't usually get that as often, but we do like it. These are new for me. I picked up this dried barley, I think it's farro, and so there's 3 things of barley. So I was thinking of making some beef soup, some like vegetable beef soup, and I've got cans of shelf-stable beef in my prepper pantry, as well as a number of cans of different types of vegetables and beef broth as well. But I wanted some sort of a grain to add to it, kind of a filler, and I was going to go with rice, and then I saw this barley because when I remember vegetable soup, beef vegetable soup from my childhood, I remember those little bits of barley in them. I'm thinking specifically, I think it's like Campbell's beef and vegetable soup. So I did pick up this quick cook barley that I'm going to try to add to my prepper pantry beef soup. So I will do maybe a video on that. So I've never cooked with barley or farro, whatever it is. So I'm going to kind of experiment with those, and then if I like them, I'll probably buy them in bigger packages. These are just small little 8-ounce packages to try. I did pick up some breakfast items for our shelf-stable breakfast supply. A couple boxes of instant oatmeal, which are nice because real quick breakfast, just add hot water. Doesn't even have to be boiling. You can just add lukewarm water, as well as a large can of rolled oats back there, and a couple boxes of off-brand Pop-Tarts. To round out the breakfast, I did pick up another can of instant coffee. I prefer, obviously, regular drip coffee, but in a pinch, that stuff is amazing. I remember I went on a camping trip to the Outer Banks one year, and our tent got destroyed by a major storm that came through, and it was a really rough night. We ended up sleeping on the floor, the concrete floor of the bathroom in the campground because our tent had been just destroyed. So the next morning we made instant coffee, and it was seriously the best coffee I've ever had in my entire life. It's amazing how much better something tastes when you're in a really bad place. So we were in a really bad place. I also picked up another bag of flour. We've got quite a bit of it. What I'm realizing is how many different things you can make from flour. I know that probably sounds kind of like a duh thing for most people, but I have in my past have tended to just grab things that are already prepared. So flour tortillas or rolls or whatever. I haven't done a lot of baking, but I've been watching some videos on like eating on a budget, and it's amazing to see everything that they can make out of just flour, like for example tortillas, because I have shelf stable ground beef and I have taco seasoning and refried beans, and that's a great sort of Mexican inspired meal, but it's kind of hard to store tortillas or tortilla chips or taco shells for long periods of time. They do go bad. But flour lasts a really long time if properly stored, and you can always make easy flour tortillas. So I did pick up some more flour to kind of round out that particular meal. I also picked up a variety of dried fruits. These all have a best by date of at least a year out. These are good as a snack on their own or a mix in with the plain rolled oats, or actually you can add them to various baking, like you could do blueberry pancakes, something like that. Also some hard salami, just a nice shelf stable meat, lasts at least 6 months. I think the best by date is 6 months, but I'm sure it can go out farther than that. We'll probably eat it before then as a snack. As far as baking, I did also pick up a couple of these Martha White muffin mixes that they had. I haven't seen the Martha Whites there before, and you can see these are just add milk. So no eggs needed, and since we have lots of shelf-stable milk from the Dollar Tree, as well as powdered milk, these would be a pretty easy thing to make. Now, if our oven did not work, because we do have an electric oven, we would, have to get a little creative with the baking. I am planning to get a little oven that sits over a propane stove, or I think it could probably even be used on a fire, that I can bake these in. So that is one of my holes that I'm hoping to fill soon. I just got a couple quick, easy meal sort of ideas. These were a little different, so I picked them up. Macaroni and cheese, pesto flavored, and truffle and porcini mushroom. Here's just a beef flavored skillet meal that I can add my canned shelf-stable ground beef to. I wanted to also beef up some of my canned goods, some of the ones that we've tested that we like. So I did the other day a prepper pantry meal that was kind of a Thanksgiving themed meal. I did turkey, shelf stable turkey that I shredded and added a packet of turkey gravy to kind of make like a just a not pureed, but a shredded gravy turkey. And then I made instant mashed potatoes, had a side of green beans, and some instant stuffing. So that was a nice little Thanksgiving inspired meal, and I realized that every Thanksgiving meal needs pie. So I did pick up some pumpkin pie as well as evaporated milk. I realize now I need 2 more cans of evaporated milk to go with the pumpkin. This is just plain pumpkin. You could, if you don't have pie crust, once again, I need to learn how to bake pie crust, but if you don't have pie crust, you can just make sort of a pumpkin souffle in a casserole dish or something, and it tastes almost as good. So I did pick up that. Back here, you can see I've got a couple cans of carrots as well as a whole bunch of potatoes. I never thought I would like these canned potatoes, but they're actually pretty tasty, and my son prefers mashed potatoes made with the canned potatoes over the instant. So I did pick up a whole bunch of those. Those are also really nice. You take a can of carrots, a can of potatoes, throw them in a pot with some of that canned pork or canned beef, add in a gravy seasoning packet, some herbs, serve it over noodles if you like, an instant meal, sort of a pot roast kind of meal. So always good to have those. 4 cans of kidney beans. I'm storing less dried beans, more canned beans, because they don't take hours of cook time, as well as some Skyline chili. We love that over spaghetti. Spaghetti is one of those things, spaghetti noodles are one of those things that we stock in our prepper pantry, so that's a quick, easy meal for us. Then Aldi's has these really great like Indian-inspired sauces. We had some the other night that were really good. Tikka masala, korma, and butter chicken. Most of these are tikka masala, but I did get one each of the butter chicken and korma. And I take my cans of canned chicken and mix in maybe a can of vegetables. I actually used frozen broccoli the other day, but you could mix in any sort of vegetables that you have, either fresh vegetables from the garden, canned vegetables. If you dehydrate, you could do dehydrated vegetables. And I actually had to add a few more spices to mine. It wasn't quite as spicy as I'd like, so I did add some more. But those are really quick, easy meals that are kind of different than the beans and rice sort of thing. Good flavor there. Along those lines, I also added a jar of the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce and this orange Asian style sauce. Again, we have lots of rice, so if you want sort of a Chinese inspired meal, you can use the orange Asian style sauce with either pork or canned chicken, and add some veggies to it, and there you go. You got a nice little sort of Chinese inspired meal. Sweet Baby Ray's will go nicely with our canned pork to make a shredded barbecue pork. Couple cans of salmon. We prefer the salmon over the tuna. And then to round out things, I picked up some spices. So I've got all of these spices already, but I wanted to get some backups. This poultry seasoning, you want to add that when you're making that Thanksgiving meal. That's really good to add additional flavor to either the turkey, or I think I added it to the stuffing. The stuffing was kind of blah, so I spiced it up with some poultry seasoning. Now I do want to make my own poultry seasoning. I do grow most of the herbs that are in poultry seasoning, but this is kind of just a backup until I get to that point, as well as chili powder for making chili, since you got a lot of beans, some allspice, which can go in the pumpkin, oregano. Oregano is one of those that's an annual. I don't tend to grow a lot of annual herbs. I stick mostly to perennials, so I buy my dried annual herbs. Also, there's some shelf-stable ginger, which is nice to go if you need to give that orange sauce a kick or make some other sort of dish. And then brown gravy. This is good if you just have a can of the shredded beef from Keystone and you just mix in some brown gravy, serve it over egg noodles with a side of carrots, and there you go, instant meal. So not a huge haul, but those are the things that I picked up at my last trip to Aldi's, just to kind of pad my prepper pantry a little bit. As things get pricier and we experience more shortages, you want to make sure that you have a nice rounded pantry, especially, for example, like I have 4 cans of pumpkin now, but I just realized I need 2 more cans of evaporated milk. So make sure that things are pairing nicely. Make sure that you have the right amounts of everything, so you're not stuck eating just barbecue sauce and rice when you've gone through your pantry. So the prepper pantry, by the way, is not something for long-term food, right? This is kind of what you eat. Well, first of all, you rotate it out. You eat on it all year long. But also, it's something that you have as a backup. For example, if there was some reason where we couldn't get groceries, whether it was a pandemic even worse than what we're going through, or shortages, or whatever, times of financial instability, you can eat through your prepper pantry while you're planning more long-term food sources. So gardening, foraging, hunting, fishing, things like this. The prepper pantry is meant to kind of get you through rough spots, not intended to be a long-term food source. So this is what I have added recently. So are there any things down here you think I'm missing, or what kind of things do you add to your prepper pantry? So please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe so that you can see the rest of my videos. Thanks, guys.